Florida Governor Ron DeSantis hasn't yet entered the race for the White House, but the battle between him and former President Trump is heating up fast, and Trump seems to think he's already found the chink in DeSantis' armor. Ron DeSantis has said very little about whether he will enter the 2024 presidential race. But all signs are pointing to yes. DeSantis is reportedly staffing up for a White House bid. He has just released a book, and the publicity tour has conveniently taken him to key states like Iowa. He's also making a broader argument about his appeal in Florida. Running on a very conservative platform, DeSantis won re-election by almost 20 points last November, and this in a state that was regarded as a battleground until recently. That fact alone has obvious appeal to Republican primary voters hungry to take back the White House. But if DeSantis wants to become the GOP nominee, Donald Trump is standing in his way. Trump and DeSantis are the two biggest names in a race that already includes former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. The contest could grow to include former Vice President Pence, former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, Senator Tim Scott, and others. But in poll after poll, DeSantis is the only potential rival who gets anywhere near Trump. In a CNN SSRS poll released this week, DeSantis was within 4 points of the former president among Republicans. Trump drew 40% support, DeSantis 36%. No other candidate polled higher than 6%. But even though DeSantis is not yet in the race, it's clear how Trump will attack him. In short, the former president and his allies will argue that DeSantis is an opportunist.
That again, because people that come out early for something, that's where they go. That's what it is. So, he may do something politically.
It's an attack that goes right at the Florida governor's appeal as a fierce and fearless conservative warrior in the nation's culture wars. Trump has some material to work with as well, much of it drawn from DeSantis' time as a congressman. Take Social Security. Trump told an Iowa crowd this week that DeSantis had wanted to decimate the popular program.
He wanted to decimate it and voted against it 3 times. Voted against Social Security. That's a bad one. A lot of people don't know that.
That is based on DeSantis voting while in Congress for a non-binding measure that would have raised the retirement age to 70. Nowadays, DeSantis says he will not mess with Social Security. A similar pattern is seen on Ukraine. This week, DeSantis called the war with Russia a territorial dispute in which no vital US interests are at stake. That puts him on basically the same page as Trump. But the former president wants it known that he was there first. Trump told reporters that DeSantis is following what I'm saying. It's a flip-flop. He was totally different. Again, there's more than a grain of truth in what Trump says. When Russia annexed Crimea in 2014, DeSantis criticized then-President Obama for weakness in his response, and he advocated for the US arming the Ukrainians. Trump has also sought to make an issue of DeSantis' record on ethanol, an important issue in Iowa. And he has noted that DeSantis did in fact lock down Florida in the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic, even though he soon became a fierce opponent of such measures. The point here goes beyond policy. If Trump can portray DeSantis as weak or as a flip-flopper, it will seriously undercut DeSantis' political brand. Now, DeSantis will argue that these characterizations of his shifts in position are overblown or out of context or flat out false. But the Florida governor is facing real national scrutiny for the very first time, and Team Trump thinks they have found a target to punch at again and again.